Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. So, for this week, we are just kind of jumping into looking at some of the different armors that have actually popped up, because there's been a lot come out. So, first thing we're going to check out is actually the 10-star AT Archveld armor. This is actually a really nice set, and I would bet it's already rearranged into several different metas, and I'm actually kind of looking around to see if there's a good gun lance one that integrates it, because I think it looks cool. Not a particularly big fan of the fight, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. We'll save reviewing AT Archveld for last. Next armor set that's going to pop up is the one that you get for finishing the quest chain with, I think her name's Nadia. You basically get a set that you're probably not going to wear it in terms of the pieces, but you may want it for layered sets. If you wanted her outfit, that's how you get it. Finish out her chain and you unlock that. Now, I dive over to take a look at the Shatterseal Great Sword, because now that we have that quest available, it's just a fun one to do, and it's a beautiful sword, so it deserves to be highlighted again. But the next thing we'll do is jump into our Palicoe stuff and take a look at what sets we've unlocked for him, because when you finish out the quest chain that has you do some of the egg delivery quests, first thing you unlock is, well, it's a side unlock, but you unlock the ability to forge a layered set to make you look like Rudy from Monster Hunter Stories 3. And of course he gets what I think is probably the coolest looking Palicoe set, which will be the Gamma set for Archveld. I really like this. I like the red in the scars. I think it's actually a really cool outfit. I'll probably end out killing Archveld enough to make his full set, as well as making the Palicoe set. And this week, we actually need to dive into the tent real quick and take a look at some of the rewards in terms of our pendants. So, they pop up at the end of the list, starting with the bottom one. Doing the egg delivery gets you Ratha. You can complete the egg delivery multiple times to get multiple different eggs. The one that I'm showing here is hatchling Gravios. Meet Emergency comes from another event quest. Jiggly Squirm comes from the event quest that has you fight things as if you had arachnophobia mode on. I'm not sure what the other ones are. I just kind of am clicking through looking at stuff that I forgot I had. And that's it for the armor set. So let's actually talk about the boatload of event quests that we've had pop up over the last week while I throw the neon neopterans up on the screen. And yes, this is the quest that basically forces arachnophobia mode on you, and these guys hit like trucks. It's an easy quest because you have 8 feints, but go ahead and pop out your support hunters and just blast them. I figured it would be a good one to have burning away in the background while we talk for a minute. So to be clear, there are 2 side quests that opened up last week. It took me a minute to get through these. For personal reasons, I've not had a whole lot of free time to work on videos for the last week. But the one with Nadia involves going through and killing a bunch of frenzy-infected monsters, and then culminates with you doing a 9-star, 5-star gore. And you know what I mean by combining those 2 together. And when you beat that, you unlock her armor set. So that's one of the side quests. You actually have to go talk to her, I believe, in the ruins of Wyveria. And then if you go to the Flooded Forest, you can talk to the Palicoe fellow that I still can't quite remember his name yet, the one that was the layered armor set from Monster Hunter Stories 3 for the collaboration quest there, and he has you go pick up some eggs and deliver them. That is actually the quest that caused me to have to take so long to talk about this, because I absolutely loathe egg delivery quests. If you played the series for any length of time, you realize that those used to be basically a mandatory part of the games. Like, you had to go out, do egg deliveries on almost every rank, and in the older games, to unlock the Mark of a Hero quest, you generally had to clear out all the prior quests. So you were doing egg deliveries. Even if it wasn't for the Mark of a Hero, a lot of the times they were linked up to opening up ingredients in the canteen. So for completion's sake, you usually ended up having to do a few. I'm not super happy having to do one in this one. It's not fun. I don't enjoy them. There's a few people trying to already start being nostalgic, like, oh, I miss doing them. No, you really don't. You miss doing them once. Go do that quest enough times to unlock all the eggs, and you'll remember why you didn't really particularly like them. Because if you want to actually get all of the different little minions that can follow you, you need to complete it at least 4 times. I'm pretty sure you have to do the quest that's on screen right now at least 5 times to get all of them too. You can basically get one of the little wiggler dudes for each of the colors that's actually present in the quest. So you need to complete it at least once per color, and I'm not even 100% certain that it actually guarantees the correct unlock each time, so take that for what you will. Yeah, they killed me quite a bit in this, but it's really not that bad once you figure out what's going on. You have to knock the slime away from them and get them small enough to actually be able to be killed. Just stay off the edge and pick them out one at a time, and don't get a whole bunch of the little ones because they get faster as they get smaller. But anyway, aside from the ones that have already dropped, we also had our Arch-Tempered Archveld quest come up, and that, my full first kill for him, is tacked on after this fight. So that'll be the point where I normally on these videos turn the volume back up. I didn't attach all the quests in this one like I normally do because this video would be like 3 hours long. So instead of doing that, it's just this quest and AT Archveld. Now, what do I think of the fight? I think it's a good final Arch-Tempered monster. He is a little different from the previous version, but not significantly. I actually think of all the Arch-Tempereds, he's probably the closest to his original incarnation, mainly because all they really did was mix and match the moves between Guardian Archveld and regular Archveld. It's still a cool fight, but if I had been just a touch more careful, I probably wouldn't have died. What happened was I started getting a little bit anxious to get it done towards the end. But I need to go in and actually finish unlocking the Mark of a Hero quest now, because that'll be my sort of final hurrah with Monster Hunter Wilds, because we have a few more quests coming up that I'll do them as well, but I don't see them as being like a crowning achievement. Mark of the Hero has always sort of been the big quest that everyone tried to finish in every Monster Hunter game, so that'll be the one that I shoot for. So now, let's talk about what is still coming up, because there's still a boatload of things in the near future. So, the 2 quests opening up in 2 days from the time that I post this video actually are Just What the Doctor Ordered, which is the Mega Rompopolo, which I really look forward to, and I will probably do an individual video for that one, and Razzle Dazzle Frazzle, which is the one to allow you to make the Gala Suit Alpha armor, so basically a really shiny armor set. I may throw in a mention of that at the beginning of the one with the Rompopolo, but I'm really excited for the Rompopolo one. He's my favorite monster of all the new ones, with Ajaracon coming in a close second. So I look forward to actually fighting a version of him that's going to make me actually pay attention to the mechanics, and he'll probably really want me around for the first little bit, because normally I can just completely ignore all the mechanics with him and just bash him till he dies. So we'll see how that goes when he's actually strong enough to pose a threat. Now, that was a bit weird having those on the 27th, but you'll notice there's a lot of quests kind of like that for some reason over the next couple weeks. Next week's proper event quests are actually the 10-star Zoshia, which I think it'll be fun to do, but I don't really think it's going to be much harder than the regular version. It's just not a terribly difficult fight to begin with. And a Flash of Brilliance, which will come with the Azure Starblade Longsword, the Azure Alpha armor set, and the Azure Era Palicoe equipment. Now, those of you relatively new to the series might not realize this, but that is the Universal Studios Japan collaboration. And the thing that's interesting about it is it's normally the very last armor set added to the game. Now, will it be the last one this time? It seems that way, just looking at the lineup of stuff coming up. But what that also usually ends up being is occasionally it ends up being overpowered. It has actually in the past been the strongest set to come in the game. Now, since then it seems like they've tuned it down and never had it be that overpowered again. But it would be interesting, and it'll be something worth keeping your eye on, because it's usually not a throwaway set either. At the very least, it looks kind of cool, and it has a little bit of a nostalgia ring to it if you are used to playing the older games as well. And then the final quest that is currently slated to pop up that we're aware of, 10-star Gogmazios. Now, personally, I think that one is just going to end out being a bit of a challenge version just for the fun of it, because it does say no support hunters will appear in the upper level in this version of the fight. I'm curious if they mean no support hunters, period, or just no called-in support hunters, because Okay, well, actually, the called-in support hunters would make as much sense for them to come in that one as they would anywhere else. Never mind. I would bet the called-in ones stick around because they treat those as if they're just other players joining your quest. But you won't have Phobius up there, so you'll need some means of actually blocking the ultimate. Maybe. I don't know. It strikes me as a little bit weird that they're throwing that restriction on just to kind of artificially bump up the difficulty, simply because that is in there to ensure that if you don't have a blocking weapon, you have a place to go to during the ultimate attack. Yeah, it could be their way of trying to force you to actually use the weapon exchange stuff, and I would imagine that as long as you time it right and you're not trying to be too greedy on getting those last hits in, you could pretty easily jump on your secret, swap to something with a shield, block, and then hop back off, because in case you didn't know this, you don't need block up or anything to block his ultimate. If you've beaten him down enough to be able to block it, you can block it no matter what. It doesn't have to be that you actually have guard up or any of those skills gemmed in, so you just anything capable of blocking can block it at that point. Or it could be that they plan on having something else up there, like maybe they'll have him drop a rock or something that you can hide behind, since you won't necessarily have a shield. I don't know. I'm not certain that they really care about that fight being particularly fair, since it's meant to be just a little bit of a challenge. However, I still don't think it's going to be harder than Proof of a Hero or Mark of a Hero. I feel like this fight right now is meant to be the final sort of hard single monster challenge, and that Mark of a Hero is meant to be the hardest quest at high rank. Because you can't really, there's not going to be a big difference scaling Gog from 9-star to 10-star. His health's going to go up a little bit, and his damage that he puts out will go up a little bit. You already can't just stand there and let him pound you. You know, you already have to heal up pretty well after every hit. So unless he gets a whole bunch of one-shots, which, to be honest with you, if that's the case, I'm not going to torture myself to finish the fight. I'm not a big fan of there being an abundant number of just one-shot mechanics. I'm okay with hits putting you in a position where you have to heal. I'm not okay with hits consistently just one-shotting you. I'm not that good, and I'm not going to struggle enough to be good enough to do that. But I will go through Mark of a Hero at some point. Now, what do I think about Arc-Tempered Archveld? He is a fun fight. This is actually a good way to cap everything off. I really do enjoy the aesthetics of it. I don't think it's really that bad. We've gotten so many versions of Archveld that by this point it's just, you should be familiar enough with him that he's not going to put up that much of a challenge. So other than the hyperinflated health pool, what you're getting is a creature that is probably the reason why most of us didn't think the AT monsters were all that bad to begin with, because they were basically on par with his hardest version. 9-star, 5-level difficulty Gore Magala is still equal to this challenge. So don't be too intimidated by the 10-star moniker for Arc-Tempered Archveld. I really think it was more of just a title thing to really buff up the flagship monster for this game. I don't think it is actually indicative of how hard the fight is. There's nothing about it that makes it any more challenging than any of the other ATs. So if you've been able to beat the others, you'll eventually be able to beat him. I've not given Mark of a Hero really a shot yet, or Proof of a Hero. Hold on a second. Okay, Proof of a Hero. I couldn't remember which one it was. It is definitively Proof of a Hero. I googled it just to be sure. I know in older games they've had Mark of a Hero, but sorry for those of you that it irritates that I kept sort of switching back and forth between the two. Proof of a Hero is it. It's going to be a hard fight, but not because it's going to be hard, but because it's going to run you right up near the timer if you're not really pushing hard enough in terms of DPS. And I tend to be a little bit more defensive. Like, I've never really cared that much about the times, so I'm probably going to have to put together just a bit more aggressive of a set with the gun lance to be able to clear it out. I don't know. We'll see. Once I get it unlocked, I'll give it a shot, see how close I come to running out of time. I was able to do the 3-monster 9-star quest pretty quickly, so I can't imagine adding one more fight into it's going to really make that much of a difference, other than the fact that 10 stars, so their healths are a little bit more inflated. But like I said, we'll see. I could be totally wrong. Either way, it's going to be a fun fight, and when I do finally get it finished, I'll put up a video for it. Anyway, that's about all I have to say, so I'll let the rest of this fight play out. The volume's going to pump up a little bit, so if you enjoyed that part of the video, enjoy, and otherwise remember, if I can beat it, so can you.
Take a second to restock your supplies before heading out. I'll sit tight here.
Bombs out and ready. Base is on. You're good, right?